And it's now my pleasure to introduce two multi-sport athletes who have been competing for different sports in the Canada Winter Games and also the Arctic Winter Games. We have Gracie Brennan, a multi-sport student athlete from Yellowknife who has attended both the Arctic Winter Games and the Canada Games. And we have Wren Acorn, a short track speed skater, also from Yellowknife, currently living and training in Montreal. They've been asked to share their knowledge and provide some of their virtual programming through active sessions and bring in content virtually to our communities and into the classroom of our schools. Gracie and Wren, over to you.
Hi, thank you guys so much. Everyone can hear me? We're good? I'm just going to start us off today, and can I start by just saying what an absolute honor it is to be presenting at this conference and to be promoting excellence in Northern communities through multi-sport. And so Gracie and I are just gonna start off by sharing a little bit about ourselves here. And this conference is about storytelling. So I guess that's where I'll start. It's just my journey as a Northern athlete. The journey of a Northern athlete from trying to pursue the elite level is one of determination, and it's one of resilience. It has not been a linear path to the top for me at all. As was said, I grew up in Yellowknife, two loving parents, got a little brother, dogs. I grew up in Old Town, and I was privileged enough to where my parents decided when my brother and I were young that they were never going to turn down an opportunity for Sage and I. And as we were some pretty athletic kids, that meant we were in a lot of sports. And also the great thing about Yellowknife is there's so many things to do, but it's so small. So everything's 5 minutes apart, which meant we could be enrolled in so many sports. So I had speed skating, soccer, jiu-jitsu, swimming, biathlon, skiing, school sports, track and field, cross country, a list went on and on and on. And so because of that, I got to taste so many things and really be molded by so many different coaches and so many different teammates, learned so many lessons over the years. It made me a really ambitious little kid, having had so many opportunities, and which I'm so grateful for. I wanted to be the two sports that really stuck with me were soccer and speed skating, but I had the opportunity to go to, I was in the proper age group to be able to go to 3 Canada Games. I only ended up going to 2, but I wanted to do one for soccer, one for speed skating, one for biathlon. I wanted to be an Olympic gold medalist in both soccer and speed skating. I wanted to be a professional violinist. There were lots of things that I wanted to do. And then, of course, as you get older, things thin and thin and thin. As I got my first Arctic Winter Games I was in grade 6. So I was only 12, 13 years old. I was in Greenland, and it was so incredible. It was something that I miss now, being a short track speed skater. Obviously, I'm so proud of my accomplishments, but my team ended up taking home the gold ulu, and I miss that final whistle blow. And then everyone goes nuts. Like, I miss that about a lot of team sports and soccer. I really do. But anyways, it was super high intensity. My first shift and my first game, I came off crying because it was so intense. We were playing Greenland, the home team, for the first game, and we were the underdogs, and we came back and we won in a golden goal, and it was absolutely incredible. I loved that team. I learned so much from my coach there, Tanya Huck. She was absolutely incredible, such a digger, just motivated us to push and push and push and push and strategize. And Tanya was my first experience of studying your opponents to really map out some kind of plan and how to use your assets against your opponent's weaknesses. And so that was really interesting. We went again in 2018 and won again in Hay River. That was an incredible thing. So I did play futsal. I went to 2 Arctic Winter Games, both of which were incredible experiences to get to meet athletes from all over the Northern Hemisphere in the Arctic Circle. That was so awesome. growing up playing soccer and speed skating, my dad was my soccer coach and my mom was my speed skating coach for a lot of it. So we really went all in my family, and to balance that relationship between parent and coach, it was difficult at times, but we managed to do it. I went to two club team nationals, with the Sundog Soccer Club. And my dad started that club really wanting to fill a space that he saw was missing in the north of high performance soccer. Soccer was really just more recreational, and he really wanted to develop athletes that were able to compete in the south. So that's what we did. We had a good time. We got our butts handed to us. Like, we really lost badly, but we had fun doing it. So that was really awesome. And eventually, the path for speed skating was just becoming more and more linear. I went to 3 Canadian Western Championships, which is ages 11 through 14 for girls, and you only race in your age category. So I went as an 11-year-old, 12-year-old, and 13-year-old. I won every race and every distance. And so I started to have a path mapped out for me in skating. I started to have people looking at me and going, we want that girl in the south. We want her to train with us at the regional training centers in Calgary. And there just wasn't, as much as I loved soccer, there came a time where I had to leave it and just pursue skating, because it was just more clearly mapped out for me, I guess. So I really didn't, I tried to stay home for as long as possible. I had a coach tell me at 13 years old, a Southern coach, tell me that if I didn't move then at 13 away from my family and go train in the south, that I was never going to make it. I was never, ever going to be able to make it from the north with the lack of opportunities, the lack of training, and the lack of coaches' knowledge, because I had great coaches, but nowadays I have professional coaches. This is what they do for a living. A lot of them are ex-Olympians. My current coach was a world record holder, so I had a lot of people tell me that you got to move soon, but my parents really held against it because they knew that I had to be there mentally before anything else. Or else the physical and competitive part would just fall apart, and I wouldn't end up getting there at all. My coach, Shane Clark, I credit a lot with trying to be mentally stable. I was an anxious kid who didn't like losing. So he always told me, Wren, no peaks, no valleys. You keep it focused, you keep it calm. And so that was really beneficial to me. I moved to the Olympic Oval in Calgary, which is the Western Regional Training Center, when I was 16 years old. And it was an adjustment, but I absolutely loved every minute of it. It really took a village to raise me. Honestly, my coaches, Christina Lazarescu and Dustin Miller, I moved at 16. They really did have a part in raising me. And we're always in communication with my mom and my dad to make sure that I was doing okay, not just as an athlete, but as a human being. I really skyrocketed after I moved. Living at home, just to touch on that, what it was like, because I totally skipped over Canada Games too. Canada Games was the year before I moved. I was 15 years old, and the Yellowknife Speed Skating Club only trains 3 times a week. And so the year of my Canada Games year, I had ice. I bought ice from the city for an extra 3 mornings a week. It was most of the time just me and my mom putting on the mats out every morning at 6 a.m., taking them off, just my mom and her stopwatch, timing my laps. And I was just really motivated. I was overtraining a lot that year I was home, just because I didn't know what was happening in the South. I knew I wanted to keep up with the Southern athletes, but I wasn't sure how I could do that. And so I overtrained like crazy. I was training in the morning and then for an extra 3 hours at night by myself in my basement, just going crazy. I injured myself a lot of minor injuries from just overtraining. And so when I went to the Oval for the first time, I really learned about how to taper practices to come to a peak at a competition, because I was used to just giving it my all absolutely every single time. But when you do that, you cannot develop the technical in the tactical aspects because you're just too tired to work on them. Your body's just destroyed. So when I was in Yellowknife, that was my strategy. That's all I knew how to do, was to push and push and push and push and push. And when I moved, my training became a little bit more finessed. So I moved to the Oval for a year. Things were going really well. And then all of a sudden, COVID happened. That initial lockdown was really hard for me. I went back to the Oval that summer. I was really out of shape because I had not balanced my online school well. I was doing online school pre-COVID because it was all that worked with my training, and I'd fallen really behind. So after that initial lockdown, I kind of got lucky because I had to put my entire life on pause to cram for about 3 months. That's all I did, 10-hour days of schoolwork. I got really out of shape to get back on top of it. So that's another thing that sport has taught me, is how to balance other aspects of my life. It can't just all be about sport. So I got to, nowadays I'm a lot better with school, but that was definitely a lesson that I never want to repeat. So I got back down summer of 2020 and was not feeling great. I was back in Calgary and found out that I had been named to the national development team, which was terrifying and joyful and everything I've dreamed of, but not like that, not like that. And so I had the honor to go in that November to attend a 3-week training camp in Halifax and skate with the best of the best athletes in Canada. And that was incredible to get to know them. And then I went home for that initial year of COVID, and now I've been in Montreal since April, and things have been up and down and all around progress wise, but I'm loving every minute of it. And yeah, that's about catches you up to this season and how things are. So I'm living in Montreal. I'm living my dream. I'm training with the Next Gen team, which is part of Team Canada, which is incredible. Never thought I would get here, but here I am.
Thanks, Wren. It's always really cool to hear about someone else's journey, and especially someone I've grown up with for a long time. So just for reference, I am currently living in Yellowknife. I'm 16 years old and I'm a female multi-sport athlete. I'm in 11th grade at École St. Patrick High School. And I have played a plethora of sports. Basically anything you can imagine, I've probably played it. My parents are very active humans and really, really enjoyed and thought it was necessary to put me in sports that would teach me all sorts of lessons. So just to kind of go over my journey, the first sport I did was figure skating, and I did that for about 6 or 7 years. My mom is a figure skating coach, and my sister is one of the best figure skaters in the territory and is on the Alberta development team for figure skating. So obviously I'm surrounded by excellence, and that kind of provides a lot of birth and growth and pushes you hard to work harder, to be surrounded by excellence all the time. And then after I kind of tapered out in figure skating and discovered it really wasn't my thing, I joined a soccer club. That soccer club was run by Wren's father, Joe Acorn, Yellowknife Bay Soccer League, and I played soccer for 8 years. I attended the nationals, club nationals in 2019. That was insane. We, of course, got our butts handed to us. But those pictures you see on the screen there, those are from Edmonton of 2019 when I went to club nationals, which was absolutely nuts and very cool. I also played a little bit of badminton. I've won territorials twice, played doubles, won that a couple times as well. And then I joined table tennis. And table tennis really got everything started for me. I met an amazing coach in Steve Rao. He lives in England, and he was just absolutely nuts. He taught me all about aerobic table tennis and kind of really gave me birth and growth and taught me all about it's okay to have fun to be playing sports. I'm a very anxious person. I want to win and I want to do it no matter what. And if I don't play good, we lost because of me. And Steve was like, it's okay. Like we're just here to have fun. We're here to be from the North. We're here to represent. So then I went to Arctic Winter Games when I was 12 for table tennis. And that was a really cool experience. I went with a bunch of people that were some were younger, some were older. I went with Zach Matheson, who was 8 at the time, which was absolutely insane. Um, we went and we had a good time. I made the playoffs. I played against some of the best Russian people and like from people from all different cultures, like Greenland and Finland. It was very, very cool and something I'll never really forget. And then just to continue on my journey with table tennis, in 2019, I went to the Canada Winter Games. And that was my only Canada Winter Games so far because because of COVID, of course, but also we went there and it was a little bit like it was shocking. The people there were I met someone who was top 50 in the world in their age category. Uh, and I met all these different people. I got like table tennis balls signed from all these insane athletes from Canada. And it was so cool to meet all these athletes that I didn't even know we had because table tennis is such a kind of obscure sport. And it was very, very interesting. And then I joined volleyball back when I was in grade 8. So back when I was 12 or 13. And that kind of took over my life. I loved every single second of it. And it was kind of a feeling I'd never really experienced before. So I played all these sports, all of them were amazing. But then I joined volleyball and it felt like everything was like, okay, this is what I was really, really like, this is what I love. And I've been to like 2 or 3 tournaments. It was very, very cool. Just down south in like various premiers, but then I went to nationals, and nationals for volleyball is very, very different experience than soccer nationals, than Canada Summer Games and Arctic Winter Games. They're very different, drastic experiences. And we actually won one of the awards for best sportsmanship in the entire nationals that were there. So there's all different kinds of age groups. We were in Ottawa and we won the best sportsmanship athletes. Like people came up to us and talked to us, were like, we've never seen athletes from the north who act like the way you do. We've never seen athletes from the south who are so supportive of each other. We've never seen so many people who really don't care if they're down. They just believe in themselves so much. And I think that really taught me a lot about who we are as athletes from the north. We are people who are resilient, just like this conference. We are people who really want to hold each other up no matter what. And I think that's such an important aspect that I never really, really thought about until we were given that award. And then just last summer, I made the Canada Summer Games team again for soccer. Oh, I did also make that 2020 Acorn Games team for futsal. Unfortunately, that did get canceled due to COVID reasons. But we moved on, and then I made the Canada Summer Games team for soccer, and I trained very, very hard for a year. And then Canada Summer Games, of course, got pushed back. So then I was offered the opportunity. My coach said, hey, you should try out for Canada Summer Games for volleyball. You would be a really good fit, I think. And although it's like outside looking in, I think you have a really good shot. So I gave it a go, and I did make that team, which was a very big experience for me. And I've currently really thrown myself into that. Unfortunately, I did have to stop playing soccer due to the fact that my coach really didn't want us to be me playing really hard in 1 week. And the first week of Canada Summer Games, I did not be able to play the second week. So I did choose to stick with volleyball. And unfortunately, this is the first year that I'm only playing one sport. I grew up playing 4 or 5 sports at a time, and sports really taught me how to time manage. I have always done super well in school, and I really award that to sports. Like Wren said, it's kind of difficult sometimes to really put school first. But I've always managed to just be like, okay, I need to get this done. I don't hand things in late. I'm not going to be that type of person that says, oh, I had a soccer tournament, so I handed that in late. That's not how it's going to go for me. And I was very, very positive with my teacher, like, you give me that due date, okay, I'm not going to be there. Make me do it before. I was very, very, I've learned to advocate for myself at school. I learned to advocate for myself in life. And also, all these experiences that I've had because of sports and all the people that I met because of sports has really allowed me to learn and grow as a person. Like I said, Steve and Thor both taught me how to be good people, how to enjoy myself, how to just realize that like this is a moment, you're not going to have it again. So just take in the moment and you can think about it later. You don't need to think about everything right when you're doing it. And that was really important to me. It was a vital lesson for me to learn. Another thing that was really important is I made almost all my friends through sports, through teammates, through various coaches, through fans in the stands. Like those things were so important to me. All my closest friends are teammates because when you're teammates, you grow together and you learn together. And especially for things like soccer and volleyball, you're laying your body on the line with other people. And you're pushing each other to the limits with each other. And I think that's a bond that's really difficult to break. And sports has allowed me to know what that bond looks like and really appreciate it. So right now, I'm really only at the beginning of my journey. I'm working really hard to make Canada Summer Games teams. I'm looking forward to more tournaments, more nationals, more Canada Games, more Acorn Games that hopefully will be coming. I'm looking forward to playing university sports if that opportunity works out for me. And I'm really just hoping that my journey will not stop and that sports will be something that's involved in my life for a very long time.